Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on this video since I already covered a lot of the aspects of creativity that I wanted to last video. But here are a couple key concepts. The last video we talked about how creativity is ideas. We talked about how it's God sending us signals that we need to interpret, but we can only receive these signals, interpret these signals if we're not getting noise from outside sources. So if we have other people in our head, if we have voices like ego or other people like fear in our head that's shutting us out, if we're constantly like stimulating ourselves with technology, or if we're dissociated because of trauma or constant substance or technology abuse, it's going to be very hard to tap into source and receive these signals from God. And so if we can't receive these signals, then we can't produce and we can't create anything, right? So I want to talk a little bit more about being able to like open up and receive these signals, and also like how I get my ideas and kind of like what my idea process looks like a bit. All right. So I talked a bit about, well, I really talked about showing up first last video. So I'm not going to talk too much about that now, but you have to be willing to show up first. You have to be willing to just sit down and record, like sit down in the chair, not know exactly how it's gonna go. Like right now, like I don't have a clear plan for any of these videos. I have bullets for script points. I have like a story that I want to tell, a loose story. I have loose ideas and concepts that I want to go. I don't know exactly how any of these videos are going. I have a decent idea, and I'm kind of just letting God send me the. I'm kind of let God do the rest, do like through me, and that's how I like to approach my own creativity. And I think that is the best way to approach creativity because, like I said last video, God wants to see that you are willing to execute without 100% understanding of where you're going to be going. If you are willing to walk the path, if you're willing to go without 100% guidance, that means you're willing to show up. That means you're willing to expand into unknown territory. Here's the thing: we can only grow, we can only expand our consciousness, we can only solve new problems by expanding into new territory. Albert Einstein says that a problem cannot be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. A problem cannot be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. Okay? And so if a problem cannot be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it, that means consciousness has to be expanded in order to solve problems. We have to go seek outside resources. We have to go seek other sources. We have to go seek like education. We have to go learn from other people. We have to go tap in the source. We have to tap into the wisdom from God. We have to use these sources to expand our own consciousness, and therefore we'll be able to use this extra territory to find the new resources that help us solve the problem that was in the old circle. This expanding, this moving out into uncomfortable territory helps us master this old territory. This is why I see self education as the ultimate vehicle for idea generation. Like, I don't know if this is just weird for me, and this one has to do with my like philosophy that creativity is just our natural selves, and that when we are not blocked, we are just flowing in our creativity. But I've always found it weird that people say, "Oh, I don't have ideas," or "I don't know what to make stuff about." Like, I've never got that. And I don't know why that's weird for me because I think I've just always been like an idea machine, like crazy. Like I've always been able to spit off ideas. I've always been able to like throw solutions at problems. I've always been able to be like, oh, I think this might work, or we could try this, or we could try this hypothesis, or ooh, let's go X, Y, and Z. And if that doesn't work, we could try X, Y, and W instead. Like that's always been me. So I look at other people like not being able to problem solve or have those creative abilities, and it makes me scratch my head a bit. But I think a key aspect to why I am able to do that. Thunder. Oh, lightning off! Oh. I think a key aspect to why I'm able to do that is because I've always been a student. I've always been a self-educator. I've always been a glutton for knowledge. I love to call myself a glutton for knowledge. I've always been extremely curious. I've always loved to I've always seen problems and I've always wanted to know answers. Right? I've always been a truth seeker. I want to understand. I want to understand people. I want to understand the mind. I want to understand my heart. I want to understand the spirit. I want to understand the world. I want to understand God. I want to understand everything. I want to get it. And obviously I won't be able to understand everything. I won't be able to learn everything. I won't be able to know everything. That's okay. I've understood. I've accepted that. But that doesn't mean that my insatiable thirst for understanding, for truth can be satisfied. It can't. It can't. And I love that about myself. And that leads to constant exploration, constant experimentation, constant self-education. And when we are constantly downloading ideas of others, whether it's God's ideas or the ideas of man, we're able to use these ideas, filter them through ourselves, and create our own perspectives. We're able to tie their ideas with our own experiences and create our own ideas. We're able to tie multiple sources, 3, 4, 5 different ideas, and synthesize and create our own concept. This is the idea creation process. This is the synthesis process. I see idea generation as just the coming together of multiple sources into one source. It's literally like creation. Idea is just it's just it's crazy, bro. It's just the first step of creation, man. It's a small aspect of creation. It's spiritual creation. Wow, that's crazy. That's why I believe that like constant self education and like consuming is key. But the thing is, we cannot we cannot tip we cannot tip over the balance. We have to create and consume. Because I think we all know what it's like to be over consumers and not creators. We have to create. Creating is an innate part of us. But creating is output. It's output. We have to give in order to create. We have to put into the world. And so if we're putting in, if we're giving, how are we refilling? That's the consuming. That's the ideas. That's the learning. That's the self education. That's the experimentation. That's the like watching and like consuming like art, film, photos, drawings, visuals, like music. Taking in these sources, input is how we get ideas. Allowing allowing external sources to quiet so God can send us his own signals. Input. But creation, output. The thing is when you're not creating, you feel bad because you're so built up. You have so much creation, you have so much creative potential in you that's not being actualized. But eventually it might just give up on you. It might explode and die inside of you. You have life inside of you that needs to burst out, but when you don't let it out, it explodes on itself and it destructs and it makes you feel dead inside. Trust me, I know what that's like. So we have to find the balance between creating and consuming. And at first, you probably won't have that balance that you actually like. And it's going to take time to get there. Right now, you probably consume more than you create. You probably consume more than you like. You want to create more. And the thing is, like, it's okay to consume more than you create. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I consume more than I create. Yeah, I do. But I also create a lot. And so I feel like my consumption is very warranted. And I'm also intentional because the things I consume are for the things I create. And so I don't really mindlessly consume anything. The things I consume are for my creations or for my genuine pleasure or for my genuine entertainment. It's not for escapism. It's not for numbing my mind. It's not for emotional regularity. It's to have fun or to enjoy life. It's okay to have fun and enjoy life. It's okay to have pleasurable experiences. We want to do these things. Life should be fun. Life should be enjoyable. You should give into the pleasurable experiences of life. But too many pleasurable experiences living back to back to back like that. I mean, when you're always high, you're never high because high is your base now. And so it's like we have to find that balance. We have to find that balance between creating and consuming. I'd say my balance right now is maybe I create about 2 to 3 hours every day, maybe, probably. That's probably like my average, 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes I go crazy and it's like 5. Today it's gonna be I don't know how many because the course, but I probably create 2 to 3 hours a day. I probably consume a lot more than that. Probably maybe 10 hours a day, honestly. I consume a lot. I still do. I still learn a lot. I still like watch movies and shows. Um, but at the same time, I do these things when I feel like I've done what I had to do in terms of creating for myself, putting my purpose first, putting my gift first, and giving to the world before I take from the world. I like to see it like that. So, show up first for your creativity, find that balance between creating and consuming, but constantly be consuming, constantly be educating yourself, constantly be taking in these external sources to expand your consciousness, to find new solutions, to expand your creativity, find new ways, find new ideas to synthesize, find new, find, find creative, find new, find novel ways to express your truer self. There we go.